So I wonder if your idea of a UK school is what is shown in these two pictures, an old building where boys and girls are educated separately and dress up in uniform and play lots of team sports. Obviously, schools like this do exist. Some schools are indeed single-sex, but most are co-educational. And there are advantages to a single-sex school, particularly between the age of 13 and 16, when you want your child to focus on their studies and not what they look like. But you need to ask yourself if your child would be happier in a single-sex school away from the pressures and distractions, or is a co-educational school a more realistic preparation for adult life? Equally, you need to think about whether you actually want this traditional school, or whether you would be happier with a more relaxed school. I mean, a traditional school can be a great place to be, but some children might be crushed by the weight of tradition and would do better in the more informal atmosphere of a smaller and more relaxed school. And then you need to think about the size of the school. There are advantages and disadvantages to both small and large schools. So a small school might be better for maybe a slightly shy child, and also you might feel that there will be more individual attention there. But equally, a larger school may have a greater choice of subjects and activities and friends. And then the other point I've got on this slide, many parents choose a school by looking at a list of schools called a league table, which shows the exam results, the GCSE, A-level or IB results that schools get. But I would just say to you at this point, remember that a league table only measures the most measurable end result of education, which is exam results. But it doesn't measure the results that are harder to measure, like whether each individual child got the best results that they could. It certainly doesn't measure things like happiness or confidence. So, just getting your child into a school at the top of the league tables doesn't guarantee that they will get top results. In fact, it's likely that unless they're already top-notch, they will lose confidence and maybe not do as well as they could have done in a school that was right for them. So in other words, a school where most children get 4 or 5 A-levels at A grade and get into the top universities might be great if your child is able to sail effortlessly through, but it might not be right for a child who needs a bit of extra support. And I'd also like to make the point here that top A-level results don't necessarily get you into Oxford or Cambridge, because for one thing, A-level results come after a university offer, and in any case, 3 A stars doesn't equal Oxford or Cambridge. They're looking for all-rounders and personality qualities and a whole wide range of things. So I would suggest you start with these sort of quite big, broad questions. First of all, thinking about what exams are offered in the school. So some schools offer A-level, which is the traditional British qualification at the end of school, and an increasing number of schools now offer IB, the International Baccalaureate. So the traditional A-level, you study 3 or 4 subjects in depth, whereas at IB you offer 6 subjects and you have to study a whole range of subjects. So that can be really good. That range can be really good because it keeps your options open. But then on the other hand, you need to be an all-rounder and be able to study all the different subjects. And you also need to be very organized and to work very hard in order to do those 6 subjects. So that's one thing to consider. Then as to location, if you go onto the BSA website, you will find a list of all the schools in the UK which show you exactly where those schools are. You can see their exact location, and you'll need to think about whether you want your child to be in London or another city with all the excitements and attractions that they offer, but also obviously those attractions are also distractions from the child's work. Or maybe you would prefer to have a safer, healthier location in the countryside. One thing to bear in mind is that schools in the UK don't have any particular links to universities. So there's no advantage in sending your child to a school in Oxford or Cambridge or London, thinking that will get them into that university. It doesn't work like that. You also need to think about transport issues, of course. But if the school is very remote, in the countryside, very often that school will put on travel from London or from the airports generally. So that is usually taken care of. Then you need to think about specializations. So as to academic subjects, nearly all schools in the UK cover these equally well. But if your child is very talented, for example, at dancing or music, or if you want a school with its own riding stables, then you'll need to look for a specialist school, and that will immediately help you to narrow down the choice. And then the percentage of students who are international. So you may feel that you want a school with very few international students because you feel that your child will learn better English. But then on the other hand, we also all live now in a world where different cultures need to live and work with each other. And it's also great networking for the future if your child makes friends from many different countries. And I would also perhaps say that if there are more international students, then maybe the teachers may be more sympathetic to any academic or social problems that your child may have. But actually, my real message here is that there's no right answers to these questions. You and your child must decide. I'm just saying these are the things that you need to consider, but without knowing your particular child, I wouldn't know what the right answer to these questions is. So who is my child? I think what I'm saying here, okay, it's true that we all want our children to get top results and get into a top university, but you know, that's not everything to consider. So a huge school with hundreds of years of tradition behind it might support your child and help him or her to develop into a successful adult. And a school that's high in the league tables may also help your child to get into a top university. But equally, as I've said, it might crush your child. It might take away his confidence so that he feels just like a faceless number in a huge institution. So the question is, if tradition and old buildings and top exam results don't guarantee that a school is right for your child, what will? And what I'm saying is the first thing you need to ask yourself is, who is my child? Who actually, you know, in what ways is he different from other children?